Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1323.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about why inflation is stubbornly high and where that inflation is occurring. Yesterday, the Consumer Price Index came out, and the Labor Department said that the price of everyday goods, including groceries, gas, and rent, rose 0.4% in February from the previous month, and consumer prices were 3.2% higher than 1 year ago. Now, that's better than December's inflation reading of 3.4%, but the reality is the Fed has a target of 2% inflation. So when we're over that 2% inflation, it means the Fed isn't reaching the target inflation rate that they want in order to lower interest rates. But is that really true? Where we have an exception is that there's certain areas where the inflation has been really stubborn, and there's other areas that have really come down in price. Now, we still are 19.98% higher than we were in February of 2020, but a lot of that is due to rent being up 5.8% from a year ago, as well as food being up sharply. Now, rents have been coming down from the peak in March of 8.2%. Still, rising at 5.8% is putting pressure on people to pay more rent. Nationwide, asking rents rose 2.2% in February to an average of $1,981 across the U.S., which was the biggest jump since January of 2023 and up 0.9% from a month ago. And you can see it's really the culprit because shelter inflation was up over 21% compared to February of 2020, according to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. So where is the inflation really coming from? Well, we're going to take a look at that and break it down. The biggest standout besides rent is auto insurance, up 20.6%. Restaurant meals, housing, and personal care were up 4.2% or more. And overall inflation, as I said, is at 3.2%. Now, below that average is transportation and education at 2.7%, alcohol at 2.4%, recreation at 2.1%, and then in the under 2% range, we have pets and pet products, medical care, college tuition, groceries, new vehicles, prescription drugs, and household energy. Clothing has stayed pretty flat and doesn't show any inflation. Now, what's gone down in price are mostly rental cars, down 10%. Toys have also decreased, down 6.2%, airfare down 6.1%, appliances down 5.2%, gasoline down 3.9%, furniture has dropped 3.7%, school books and supplies down 3.5%, used vehicles down 1.8%, and electronics and hotel rooms down 0.4%. Food inflation is still up 2.2% year over year, and grocery prices were up 0.4% in January, which was 1% higher than a year ago. Certain specific foods have had stubbornly high inflation, like frozen juices and drinks, up 27.2% year over year. Beef steaks, 12% higher, and sugar up 6.1% in February, and also spices were up 3.7% from a year ago. Eggs have declined 29% from $4.21 a year ago to $2.99 in February. Restaurant meals are up 3.8% from a year ago, and even vending machine snacks are up 7.7% in price. Overall, compared to February 2020, right before the onset of the pandemic, food prices are up over 25%, according to the St. Louis Fed. Also, fees for tax preparation have jumped 9.8% from February of 2023 and rose 2.7% from a month ago. Airline fares have declined 6.1% compared to last February, but remain 3.6% higher than a month ago. And airfare for vacations in March and April averaged $256 per round trip on domestic flights, which was down 2% from the same time a year ago, and 11% lower than 2019 prices. People traveling to the Caribbean and Mexico saw tickets down 11% to $447 on average, but travelers to Europe saw tickets averaging $640, or 7% lower than last year for March and April departures. Tickets to sporting events rose by 11% from a year ago, and an NFL ticket, which cost $111.75 in 2022, now costs $120.94. Back in 2006, those same tickets were just $62.38. Veterinarian services jumped 7.9% from a year ago in February, up 0.9% from a month ago. And pet food increased 2.6% in the past 12 months, and the cost of pet food is nearly 22% higher compared to February of 2020. So while inflation has come down significantly from the peak in June of 2022 when it was 9.1%, not every price has fallen across the board. Some prices are just rising more slowly. Overall, food prices are up by over 25%. Gas prices are roughly 39% higher, and rents are up 21% higher compared to February of 2020, right before when the pandemic began and prices started spiraling out of control. So while prices are headed in the right direction, there are certain parts of the economy that are remaining stubbornly high, and that's causing the overall consumer price index to stay a little bit higher than what the Fed is looking for. But really, most things are moving in the right direction, and there is great improvement, and we've come down so far from where we were, and we just need to keep going in the right direction. I still believe the Fed is going to make their first interest rate cut in May. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available. And all of my podcasts are on my website at lindapjones.com/podcasts. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly newsletter for more tips for your financial freedom. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.